Welcome to Discovering. Lake Gogebic is a pristine UP gem. I spent some time there talking with some folks intent on keeping it that way.
Our theory is that if we take care of the lake will take care of us.
Sit back and relax. It's Monday night and time for Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
Lake Gogebic is the UP's largest natural inland body of water. It's over 14 miles long with 34 miles of shoreline. It's home to perch, walleye, pike, smallmouth, crappie, and more. It's also home to a great number of year-round and part-time residents, many of whom have banded together to do their part to help keep Lake Gogebic one of the UP's true gems.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about the Lake Gogebic Improvement Association. Association has been around for 40 years, primarily made up of people that are concerned about the well-being of the lake. We are not a homeowners group or concerned about zoning issues or agricultural runoff type of issues, because those don't happen to be problems for us here. What we do have is this ongoing concern about the continuing pristine quality of this lake. Our theory is that if we take care of the lake will take care of us, and everything connected with it will prosper. Your property values, your fishery, your recreational usage, and so on. Our thought is that if we get strong support from those who not only live on the lake, but actually use the lake for whatever purpose they have, then we can be that much more influential in dealing with people that make rules and regulations about the lake and its usage. The types of things that we have been involved in for the past number of years are critical to that well-being. We are paying a considerable amount of attention to the control of any invasive species that might threaten. Right now, to our knowledge, we have the spiny water flea and we have the banded mystery snail as aquatic invasives, and we have the presence of purple loosestrife. That's kind of in between the aquatic and terrestrial versions. It grows in the marshes of the south end. Every year, we, in partnership with Upper Peninsula Power Company, have a loosestrife containment effort where volunteers from our association gather to remove loosestrife from the area to a point where it hopefully will not continue to spread, and that's been very successful. It's impossible, it seems, to get rid of it entirely, but we do a good job, we believe, in containing it.
AIS, Aquatic Invasive Species. The list includes things like zebra mussels, Eurasian water milfoil, rusty crayfish, purple loosestrife, and more. Preventing invasive species from entering a water system can be tough, but nothing compared to trying to get rid of it once it's there. The first week of July is Aquatic Invasive Species Awareness Week, which includes a collaborative outreach campaign known as the Landing Blitz, designed to raise awareness about preventing the spread of aquatic invasive species through recreational boating and related activities.
The Landing Blitz is done every year now from the state, and it's probably, I think, about the third or fourth year. Governor Snyder stated that this would be the Landing Blitz week, and he set certain dates to have that happen. But each lake could choose the time within that week that they want to run their Landing Blitz. And it's sponsored by the DEQ. What it is during the first week of July, the lakes are asked to provide coverage of the landings so that we can get together the invasive species information out to all our boaters. We were sent out an email asking if we wanted to participate in the landing blitz. When I got the first email, I answered right away and said that Lake Gogebic wanted to participate. And the unique thing they do too is before the landing blitz, about a month before, they have a conference call of the people that are in charge of these landing blitzes around the state of Michigan. And we are able to ask questions, they give us information, and it's a way of kind of pulling us all together so that it's more fluid. And we are one of many lakes. It seems to be growing every year. So, and this, like I said, is participating, people are participating throughout the state of Michigan. The nice thing about this area is that we are around many lakes, not only in Michigan, but Wisconsin, but that's also can be something that we have to be extremely vigilant in, because there are lakes that are very near us that have Eurasian water milfoil in. And so we are vigilant, probably hyper-vigilant, as far as looking for the Eurasian water milfoil.
We also have boat washing, supported, in fact provided by the U.S. Forest Service in terms of the pressure washer itself. We work in collaboration with Berglund Township since they have the administrative capabilities to manage, and then we provide the volunteer labor that will staff the various boat landings around the lake.
I'm here all summer long, May till the time they throw me out, and we do our boat cleaning for Michigan. Illinois boaters, when they come up, they thank us for doing this. They in Illinois have to wash their boats going in and coming out. Here, they don't, it's just coming out. So when they come, we sort of look underneath. If there's no weeds as they're going by, then they can go by and go in. But coming out, we ask them if they'd like their boat washed, and if they say yes, then we wash them. If they're from Michigan and they say, we haven't been in any other lakes in 10 days, we don't do it. We just check the trailer, because in 10 days, usually they're dead.
We do record keeping. When we walk into the park, we take a note of everybody that's here already by state. And then when people start coming in and out, we log everything. We don't care about what fish they get or how many or anything like that, so we're not like DNR, but we go ahead and we want to keep track of the invasive species, make sure people are aware of what's going on, what's in this lake. We do not want anything else, and we do not want them transferring what's in this lake to any other bodies of water. So we ask them if they have been in another body of water in the last 5 days or going to another body of water. We document how many people are in the boat, what kind of boat they are traveling in, if they are conscientious about draining the live well, keeping their boat clean. Then I also have a pump with bleach water, and if people are saying, yes, I'm going to another body of water, we go ahead and squirt the boat off, kind of wipe it a little bit, make sure their live well is clean, make sure that the motor doesn't have any debris on it, bringing in any of the plants, the invasive part, and then we just keep people really aware of what's happening. And people are very, very respectful of it. People are thankful, and they constantly thank us for the work that we're doing. So it's a fun job.
Well, all the people I've been in contact with have been just wonderful. They're very appreciative of us taking the time to do this and educating the public. We give them their little handouts and answer whatever questions they may have.
Well, how many times you use your boat in a month on a different water?
So far, I haven't run into anyone who has not been very happy that we're doing this and that the whole lake has different stations around it. I know the state of Wisconsin is really, they take this very seriously. And I think now when they see we are doing the same, they're very happy about it, because nobody wants these invasives in their lake.
So when you come to Lake Gogebic, it's more than likely on a weekend, you will be met by one of our volunteers asking whether or not you want your boat washed, whether you're going into the lake or coming out of it. You'll also be handed some educational material so that you will be that much more aware of the threat of invasives.
And then after that landing blitz, we compile our information, which is like where they're from and the information of how many people, what the weather was like. They want to know all this data, and we submit that to the DEQ so that they have it and they compile it for their records.
Another thing that we've done is we've planted fish cribs in Lake Gogebic for bait fish habitat for many years now, and every year we'll plant about 10 to a dozen new fish cribs, and we mark them from a GPS perspective so that people will know where they are in the lake.
These are the fish cribs that the Toivel brothers will be building this year. They're 4 by 4 by 3, and we put in 7 of those blocks in each crib. That's what it takes to sink them. We put them in front of people's places. Whoever wants fish cribs can have them on the lake, and I won't go any shallower than 10 feet and as deep as they want. So we'll put 2 side by side in front of their docks, and then I will record the GPS reading and also the depth, so they know where these 2 cribs are. And they're for forage fish. We don't have much structure in the lake, so the forage fish will go in between the little logs here, and it will attract the predator fish, walleyes, northern bass, whatever. We get a permit from the DNR or DEQ. We can do 5 locations per year, and that's 2 cribs per location. So it's 10 of these cribs are being built a year. After 5 years, we got to renew the permit.
We have a program that we began 2 years ago where we are now placing artificial loon nests in some of the river areas around the lake.
Something that I read in an article one time about it, and I thought it was a pretty good idea, something we could use on this lake, because we have the loons, but we don't get a lot of young loons. We have critters that get to them before they have a chance to grow. So this was an idea. We could put them in places that would be safer, and hopefully it would increase the loon population on the lake a little more. So it's a simple build. It's 4-inch PVC pipe. For flotation, I use 2-inch styrofoam underneath the slats on the loon nest itself, and then we use a plastic chicken wire to kind of tie it all together and make it a little stronger. Once it's in the water, you place some sort of sod. Best if you got weeds, basically. It gives the loons a place to nest, and it's a little safer for them. We've been putting them in the river. We have them on the Slate River and on the Meriwether River. And the ones that we built this year, we plan on putting on the west branch of the Ontonagon. So they have to be in an area that is kind of calm. You know, they're not going to take a lot of rough water, which we unfortunately have on a lake this size. It was just an idea that I came up with and brought it to the attention of our lake association, and it kind of caught on and has gone from there.
These loon nests are intended to be a supplement to whatever the natural growth of loon population might be, and it'll take a number of years apparently to have them actually begin to use them, but we think that for the long-term well-being of the lake, it is important for us to assist that loon population. Dean Primo, president of Whitewater Associates, a well-known environmentalist, says basically the presence of loon on your lake is an indicator of the fact that it is a good, clarified water lake, so that if you've got good, clean water, you'll attract loons. They do not like bad water. So the presence of loons on Lake Gogebic, of which we have quite a few, is a strong sign of the value of our loon nest program. One of the other things that we've done quite a bit of is we've gotten involved in issues related to the fishery of Lake Gogebic. Over the years of working with the DNR, we've promoted strongly the idea of them conducting a large lake survey. The last one was done in 2005, 2006, and then just this last year, the newest one was done. We have also used the Qualitative Fisheries Center of Michigan State University under the guidance of Professor Michael Jones to conduct a study of Lake Gogebic, particularly concerned with the growth patterns and the fact that we had an unusual amount of undersized illegal fish being caught. And he did a study of the lake, comparing us to lakes in Canada and upstate New York and Minnesota. And his conclusion basically was that you've got one great lake here. You've got to understand that nature cycles, and those fish that you find to be too small right now for consumption are going to grow to be a great, great boon to your fishery. And in fact, that's exactly what happened. However, we did react via the DNR by them altering the standard Michigan walleye regulation of a limit of 5 per day at 15 inches to a limit of 5 per day with 2 of the 5 being between 13 and 15 inches. That was very well received by the public and frankly continued people's level of interest in fishing here as compared to their relative disgust in not being able to get a legal fish. In fact, we had a meeting not very long ago that brought together what we call our stakeholder group. And that stakeholder group is a group of people that have a strong interest in particularly the fishery of the lake. They would be the resort owners, guides, sporting clubs, and a couple of just fishermen, as well as members of the tribe, both from the Gliftwick offices in Dodena and the Lavoisier tribe in Waters Mead. And this group has met with DNR personnel for a number of times now over the last few years to discuss what is their common interest. And everybody on that group is interested in the well-being of the fishery of Lake Gogebic. And it's interesting to note just how much that common bond will bring about understanding and acceptance. The regulation change that I just mentioned, we determined is probably going to have to be kept in place for another 2 to 2.5 years because the DNR feels that any regulatory change should actually have at least 5 years of time in which they can conduct a study to see what impact, if any, it has on the population. It is that stakeholder group that probably represents as good as anything the idea that people working together in a good collaborative manner with a common interest can do some very many effective things relative to the well-being of, in this case, Lake Gogebic or any other venture that they might take on.
Invasive species can be found in our woods as well as in our waters, and they can have an effect on the non-invasive species they coexist with.
Spring ephemeral flowers, or spring ephemerals, are called that because they pretty much pop up first thing in the spring. You know, they get up there first thing, usually from bulbs. They photosynthesize, they put out flowers, and then they are gone by summer. This is bloodroot. Bloodroot is really common in mesic woods like this. It tends to pop up about this time of year. And when the leaves first come up, they're usually kind of curled. So if you see leaves like that are kind of curled around the stem, that's probably bloodroot. When it does flower, you get a very pretty little white flower with 6 or 7 petals and a yellow center. Now, another really common native that we have here, and it's everywhere, is the trout lily. The leaves are really distinctive because they tend to have kind of a mottled look. And I've heard 2 stories for why it's called trout lily. One is that it tends to usually bloom about the beginning of trout season. But the other thing is that people call it trout lily because those little spots on the back look like the back of a brook trout. Anyway, you'll see a lot of those in the spring woods too. So those are the things we're trying to protect here. This is native Pennsylvania sedge. And if you go through the woods and you see what looks like little tufts of grass, That's Pennsylvania sedge, and it's a great ground cover, and it provides excellent shelter for small mammals, and it's really kind of nice as a soil stabilizer. So a lot of places where you see something like this, where there's probably been some water collected, you'll see that stuff popping up, and it'll kind of spread by a stolon and pop up another little tuft somewhere along the line. If you guys are familiar with the yellow mustard that grows in farm fields, that is a mustard. It is kind of invader, it's not native, it can be very aggressive, but it's actually not as bad as garlic mustard. Garlic mustard actually exudes a chemical in its roots, which is allelopathic. And allelopathic basically means it inhibits the growth of everything around it. So not only does garlic mustard put out a lot of seeds and stay green all winter so it can photosynthesize the second the snow goes away, but it also kind of inhibits the growth of seeds and plants around it, which is a problem when you look at how much it inhibits the growth of young tree seedlings. It actually will inhibit the growth of young maples, so given enough time and enough infestation, it'll prevent the forest from regenerating in the normal succession. But garlic mustard puts out up to 3,000 seeds per plant, and they're very small. I mean, they're about the size of poppy seeds. So if they happen to be in any mud, in people's shoes, in people's ATV tires or anything like that, they can travel very easily. If you happen to be walking through the woods in springtime and you smell garlic or onion, it's going to be one of two things. It's going to be the native wild leek. If you look around and there's no leeks, it's probably garlic mustard. So please search very carefully and look for these little guys. If you're not sure whether you're looking at garlic mustard, just remember that in the spring woods, there's not a lot of things that bloom white. So you're probably going to see trilliums, which you guys could probably tell from everything else, or you're going to see garlic mustard. So if you see white flowers, stop, look, and see if it smells like garlic. Forget-me-nots are not quite as bad as garlic mustard in that they don't really have that allelopathic effect, but they really are aggressive. We have a couple photos along the road to Miner's Castle where the entire forest floor under some of the canopy is just blue with forget-me-nots. So they really do choke out other things, and they really do, impede the growth of native plants. And people are so familiar with it, they don't realize it can be a problem.
Well, that's it for this week. Be sure to check out 906outdoors.com, where you'll find the 906 Fishing Report, TV6 weather, shopping, and more. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next week, right here on Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.